Hey, good morning, boys and girls. Welcome to another episode of Wheels Boutique. I'm David Nussbaum, your host, and right behind me, we have a stunning Ferrari 812 Superfast. Now, this is one of my all-time favorite cars just because I like quirky stuff, and in my opinion, a front-engine Ferrari is a little bit on the quirky side. It's not their mid-engine stuff with V8s or V12s. It's, you know, a grand touring car that looks awesome, sounds awesome, and it's just awesome overall. And the V12 naturally aspirated, that is probably the key element to why this car is one of my favorites. And obviously we're gonna get you some sound clips so you guys can hear that, which makes it my favorite. But let's get down to the nitty gritty and talk about the owner of this car first. So his name is John. I've been doing business with him for the last couple of years now. The very first car that we ever did for him was a 600 LT, which we'll link up to, we'll put it right here, some photos of that car. And the car came from Texas. So the very first time he called me, we built a package together on the very first call, and it was a done deal. Transported the car from Texas. We did a tune, some downpipes, some wheels, suspension, some wrap work. I think he wrapped the 600 LT roof in black. So various items on that car, and then we transported the car back to Texas. He loved it so much that since he sent me down a couple cars, he's also bought some wheel sets from me that I've drop shipped to him because, you know, you wouldn't want to send the car from Texas to Florida just for some wheels. But when you're doing a full build like this, you definitely want to send the car down. So John, if you're watching, thank you so much. We appreciate your business. So what we did to this car, first and foremost, you already see it. The Anarchy S3 X4s, that's what we're known for, but we do every other modification as well. So talking about the fitment just a little bit, up front we have a 21-inch wheel. It's going to be a 21 by 10.5, and the tire is going to be a Michelin Pilot Sport 4S, and it's a 275/30/21. In the rear, it's a bigger diameter and also wider. So we got a 22-inch wheel by 12.5, and the tire is a 335/25/22. Again, with the Michelin Pilot Sport 4S. So this car comes factory with 20 inches in the front, 20 inches in the rear, but we go a little bit bigger here. You could also do a 21/21 setup. I have had one customer that did that and it didn't look too bad, but we like to have it a little bit staggered in diameter just because when you follow the line of the car, it really showcases the wheel a little bit more when it's a bigger diameter in the rear. And that's true for a lot of the modern day supercars. Porsche realizes that as well. I mentioned them because there's one off camera here. And from factory, that has a bigger rear wheel than the front wheel. For the finish, I really love this finish because typically on 812s and Ferraris that are red or black or white, gold is the call for the color. But this is not gold, this is gonna be a champagne, very close to the gold. So oftentimes when we have a champagne colored wheel on the website, somebody will call me and say, hey, I like these gold wheels. And I mentioned to them, hey, this is gonna be a champagne. If you want a gold, this is what gold looks like, this is what champagne looks like, and the majority of the time, they stay with the champagne. It's gonna be a polished champagne, and then the outer lip is gonna be a polished silver. So the entire wheel, very shiny. You may not be able to see it on camera right now because we're super overcast and it's about to rain, but I'll tell you, when it's in the sun, this thing pops like a mirror. So I really like that. We also included the bezel that's finished in the same exact color as the rest of the wheel so that the customer can maintain his Ferrari OEM center cap, which is a really important option that a lot of my Ferrari customers want. They want to be able to show off the prancing horse logo in the middle of the wheel. You'll also notice that the stance is lower, so we did Novatec sport springs. The Novatec springs are adjustable, so I made sure to work with John on how low he wanted it. A lot of customers here in Miami, since we have beautiful roads, want it what we call slammed, which is even lower than this, but I think this is a happy medium. Barely you could get a finger in there, so it looks awesome. It doesn't rub at all. And a telltale sign that doesn't rub at all is you can actually look at the tires. You'll usually have a mark here, a line that's not supposed to be there, but we don't have that at all because of obviously it's a perfect flush fitment. And you can look at that when I stand down the side of the car. It pokes just a little bit, doesn't inset, or it's not like all the way tucked into the wheel well like the factory wheels are, and that's something that a lot of people will forget. Another type of phone call that I get a lot is, you know, for example, an A12 customer wants wheels. I tell them the price, it's a little bit more than what they want to spend. So they said, you know what, I'm just going to refinish my factory wheels and get them into the color that I was going to order aftermarket wheels in. You can do that, but the only thing that's going to stay the same is the color. Then when they noticed that the wheels it didn't change it didn't make them love the wheel. The wheel's still so far in that they eventually called me back and they said, hey, that was a couple grand that I wasted on refinishing my factory wheels. Let's go ahead and get these aftermarket ones. In this case, the Anarchy S3 X4s. So a 3-piece wheel. Another thing that we did beyond the wheels and the suspension is the Novatech carbon fiber. And I'm wearing the brand new Novatech gear that Novatech USA sent to me. So big shout out to Albert. If you want any of their gear, give us a call. We can set you up with that. Novatech piece in the front, side, and a couple pieces in the rear. So right up front, we have the front spoiler. Very, very nice piece. Novatech actually offers way more carbon fiber pieces than what I did on this car. On this one, we only did 4. I think in total, they might have close to about a dozen. But this piece here, I really like. It's one continuous piece. There's no drilling into the bodywork of the car, so everything is just clamped on, and it's very, very nice. It won't fly off, even if you're doing the top speed of this car, which I imagine would be close to 200 miles per hour. Then you have the side skirt, which is another piece. None of these pieces are drilled into the car. So if John ever decides to want to sell the car, and then the person that he's selling it to doesn't want these pieces, it can easily be removed. But the majority of the time, when you set up a car like this car sells as is. Because if you can imagine, when the market gets flooded with a specific car, like an A12, what's gonna separate one A12 from the other? It's usually either a really cool, unique factory spec, which is gonna be a very high price, or something that is as beautiful as this. And this is arguably much, much nicer than the factory setup. It also sounds better, which we'll get into in a little bit. But continuing on with that, in the rear, it's 2 different products. Number 1 is the deck lid spoiler, which is actually multiple pieces because this opens up, and so you have to have that split here, but the carbon fiber is absolutely beautiful. And then you have the rear bumper attachment. So Novatech doesn't offer a carbon fiber rear diffuser, surprisingly, but they do offer the bumper attachments, which is this piece here. I believe that Ferrari offers a complete underside carbon fiber rear diffuser north of $20,000. And I know that for a fact because we did a Portofino on the channel recently, and that rear bumper carbon fiber was 22,000, something crazy like that. So same sort of concept with the A12. Ferrari really does the Ferrari tax on their carbon fiber. But with the Novatech, it's just as high of a quality. Also, you can order the Novatech carbon with the Ferrari carbon weave. So if you want to save a couple bucks and look better, in my opinion, because it's way more aggressive products, the Novatech is the way to go. And the final piece of this build is going to be, well, 2 things. One that I haven't mentioned yet is going to be a DME Stage 2 tune. The reason we did a Stage 2 tune with DME is because we have high flow cats on here, and the car would have had a check engine light triggered because of the high flow cats. The high flow cats are way less restrictive than the factory cats. The reason the car even comes with factory cats from Ferrari is because of emissions in Europe and, you know, environmental issues. They have to make sure that those filters, which is essentially what it is, isn't emitting, you know, horrible for the environment fumes from the engine. So high flow cats, less restrictive, means that the engine airflow is much, much better, which means that it gains power, which also means that it gains sound. So with that said, IPE, high flow cats, X-pipe, which is probably right here in the middle of the car, underneath it about this big, and then connected to the Valvetronic exhaust system. So multiple pieces, high flow cats, X-pipe, then the Valvetronic muffler. The Valvetronic muffler in this case is stainless steel. It's also offered in a lightweight titanium if for some reason you want your A12 to be as lightweight as possible and gain some extra performance. But without further ado, let me pause, let me jump in the car, have Marvin set up a little bit, and I want to do a couple of flybys. I also want to rev the engine a little bit just so you guys can hear this glorious, naturally aspirated V12 sound. I will honestly never get tired of that. So big thank you again to John. I appreciate you sending the cars down to us from Texas. Beautiful spec on this. Just before I let you go, look at this interior. Yellow seat belts, my favorite. Yellow stitching, white piping, carbon fiber obviously with the rev counter. Just absolutely unbelievable. I love the way that this car came out. I hope you guys did too. Let us know what you think in the comments about the sound of the IP exhaust. Let us know if you want to send your car no matter where you're located in the United States. If you're in Hawaii or Alaska, let's do it. I want to get your car on the channel. We'll get it on a boat from Hawaii. We'll do a full out video. But there's nothing else left to say. I love what I do, and we'll continue to provide you guys with some content as long as you subscribe, give the thumbs up, and share the channel with your friends and family. So I'll see you guys on the next one.